Hi everyone, good day. I am Cyril Ventura, a nursing student from University of Rizal System, Taytay Campus, College of Nursing, Section 2B. Today, I will be discussing the evolution of technology, a journey with Jim Al-Khalili as part of our science, technology, and society course. I hope you find this session both informative and relatable to our future. So, let's start.
Are you sick of me? Would you like to be? I'm trying to tell you something that I already said. You like the pretty boy with a pretty voice who's trying to sell you something that you already have.
What is technology? Most of us think of our phones or laptops, but looking at our world, we see that technology is actually the product of science. It is the practical application of scientific knowledge to meet the needs of our society. In simple terms, science asks the questions and technology provides the answers. Now, think of science as the why and technology as the how. Scientists act as researchers. They study the world to discover new knowledge and facts. For example, how electricity or medicine works, while the technologies act as builders. They take that scientific knowledge and turn it into something we can actually use to solve daily problems. Now, we have real world examples how knowledge becomes reality. First, in the air, using the science of physics to build aircraft carriers and spacecraft. Because of science and technology, we have aircraft carriers and spacecraft that allow us to travel the globe and beyond. Next, the communication. Using the science of electronics to create computers and smartphones. Science and technology are the reason we have computers that can process millions of bits of data in a second. Every device we use is a result of someone taking a scientific fact and turning it into a human solution. To make it short, science produces the knowledge, while technology turns that knowledge into useful products. Science provides the blueprint or the idea, and technology is the finished house that people can actually live in and use. Without science, we wouldn't have the ideas. Without technology, those ideas would never become tools like our phones or computers. Today, we're talking about a different kind of evolution. What exactly technology evolution is? Simply put, technology evolution is the theory that technology doesn't just appear out of nowhere. Instead, it is a process of cumulative growth. It's like a ladder. Each new invention is a rung that depends on the one below it. It is the story of how human beings take a simple tool like a stone, hammer, and through thousands of years of trial and error, turn it into a silicon chip. Evolution isn't just about better gadgets. It's about how society pushes science to solve problems and how those solutions in turn change our society forever. To help us navigate this journey, I want to introduce you to a figure who perfectly bridges the gap between high level academic research and the curious public. If you look at the screen, you'll see Jim Al-Khalili. Jim Al-Khalili, he is a quantum physicist, but in reality, he is one of the world's most successful science communicators. Jim's entire career is dedicated to making those impossible topics feel like a conversation over coffee. So, who is he exactly? Jim Al-Khalili isn't just a TV personality. He has the heavyweight credentials to back it up. He earned his PhD in nuclear theory in 1989 and currently holds a distinguished chair in physics at the University of Surrey. But what makes him unique is his reach. He has written 12 books and his work has been translated into over 26 languages. One of the most impressive parts of his profile is that he was a recipient of the inaugural Stephen Hawking Medal. This medal is essentially the Oscar of the science world. When we hear the word evolution, we usually think of Charles Darwin, monkeys, something that happened to us, like growing taller or changing over millions of years, and the slow crawl of biological history. But today, we're talking about a different kind of evolution, one that moves at the speed of light. I'm here to discuss the technology evolution through the lens of one of the most brilliant scientific communicators of our time, Jim Al-Khalili. We are going to look at four critical chapters of this evolution. First, the Revolution series, where we look at the blood, sweat, and tears behind our greatest inventions. Second, the development of electronics, how we literally harness nothingness to build the digital world. Third, artificial intelligence, why AI is actually a tool for human joy and capability rather than a threat. Last, quantum biology, the mind bending discovery that nature might be the most high tech engineer of all. So, with that in mind, let's tackle these four pillars one by one. First, let's look at the Revolution series. When we look at a smartphone or a car, we usually just see a tool. But Jim Al-Khalili argues that these aren't just objects, they are stories. In his Revolution series, he looks at six inventions: the airplane, car, rocket, smartphone, telescope, and robot. He uses five words to describe the evolution of technology: thought, struggle, sacrifice, determination, and insight. Think about the first rockets. They didn't just work. People spend lifetimes failing, blowing things up, and being ridiculed before we ever touch the moon. Technology is the result of human obsession. It's about people who refuse to accept that something was impossible. Al-Khalili shows us that our values, our desire to explore or communicate, drive these revolutions. Without that human struggle, the technology wouldn't exist. So, the next time you hold your phone, remember, you aren't just holding glass. You're holding centuries of human determination. Next, the development of electronics from nothing to everything. To create the modern world, we first had to create nothing, a vacuum. How do we get from a simple glass jar to a supercomputer? The answer is nothing, literally. Jim Al-Khalili traces the history of electronics back to vacuum technology, the art of creating a void where no air exists. It started with the light bulb to keep the filament from burning up. We had to suck the air out, but then scientists like Jim Al-Khalili explain we realized that in a vacuum we could control electrons. This led to the radio valve or vacuum tube. These tubes allowed us to amplify signals for radios and eventually act as switches for the very first computers. Without that empty space inside a tube, the digital age would never have started. This is a perfect example of how one small scientific niche or vacuum physics can accidentally trigger a global social shift. We created a void to make light, and we ended up creating the internet. It shows that technology often evolves in ways the original inventors never imagined. Next, artificial intelligence. AI isn't a replacement for humans. It's a tool to amplify what we can already do. People are scared of AI. We see movies about robots taking over the world. But in his documentary, The Joy of AI, Al-Khalili offers a much more hopeful and realistic view. He calls AI a tool to enhance human capability. He explains machine learning and neural networks. Machine learning. This is the emergence part. By feeding a machine millions of data points, it finds patterns humans might miss, whether that's diagnosing a disease or predicting the weather. Neural networks. In The Joy of AI, Al-Khalili explains that modern AI doesn't just follow a list of rules. Instead, it mimics the human brain's architecture, neural networks. It learns by trial and error, much like a child learning to recognize a face. Essentially, we are teaching computers to learn like human babies by recognizing patterns. AI is incredibly good at things humans are bad at. like scanning millions of medical images in a second to find cancer. It's not thinking like us, it's calculating for us. Al-Khalili argues that AI shouldn't replace doctors, engineers, or artists. Instead, it should be a power tool that makes us better at those jobs. The goal of technology isn't to replace the human, it's to amplify what the human can do. Last, the quantum biology. Life itself might be the most advanced technology on Earth, powered by the weird rules of quantum physics. This is the most mind blowing part of Al-Khalili's work. We usually think of quantum physics as something for labs and cold computers. But Al-Khalili investigates quantum biology, the idea that life itself uses quantum mechanics to survive. He points to amazing examples. First, photosynthesis. Plants turn light into food with almost 100% efficiency because energy explores every path at once, a quantum trick. Al-Khalili explores the idea that plants are more efficient than any solar panel we've ever built. They use quantum coherence to transport energy across a lift with almost zero waste. Second, bird navigation. How do birds fly thousands of miles without a map? Evidence suggests they have quantum sensors in their eyes that allow them to actually see the Earth's magnetic field. Nature has been using high tech quantum physics for billions of years while we're just now figuring it out. This changes our perspective on the evolution of technology. We often think humans are the only ones inventing things, but through quantum biology, we realize that nature is the most advanced engineer on Earth. Our future technology might come from stop trying to build things and starting to mimic how life works. By studying how nature uses quantum mechanics or quantum biology, we can learn to build better computers and more efficient green energy. Nature was a tech pioneer long before we were. As we come to the end of this journey through the evolution of technology, let's take a moment to look at the big picture. We've traveled from the Revolution series, where we saw that every great invention, from the car to the rocket, was fueled by human blood, sweat, and tears. We saw that technology isn't just a machine, it is a human determination made physically. We explored the development of electronics, realizing that our entire modern world was built by mastering the nothingness inside a vacuum. It's a reminder that sometimes the smallest scientific curiosity can change the entire course of human history. We look at artificial intelligence not as a threat to be feared, but as a tool to enhance our own joy and capability. It's a partnership, not a replacement. And finally, we touch on quantum biology, where we realize that while we think we are the ultimate inventors, nature has been using high tech quantum physics for billions of years. We are just now beginning to learn her secrets. So, what is the technology evolution really about? If Jim Al-Khalili has taught us anything, it's that technology is not a separate entity from humanity. It is an extension of our senses, our minds, and our hearts. We didn't just invent these things, we evolve with them. The evolution of technology is actually the evolution of us. Jim Al-Khalili reminds us that knowledge is only as power as your ability to share it. Whether you are in nursing, engineering, or the arts, being an expert is only half the battle. The other half is being a communicator. Jim Al-Khalili shows us that you can be a world-class physicist and a world-class storyteller at the same time. As future professionals, whether we are in nursing, engineering, or education, we must remember that we are the ones who will guide the next rung on that ladder of evolution. The tools we create today will define the society of tomorrow. Don't just use technology, understand it, question it, and most importantly, use it to make the world a bit more human. Thank you everyone for your time, effort, and for listening. It has been a pleasure exploring the mind of Jim Al-Khalili with all of you.